Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Entrepreneur Rescue Mission, presented by The Time to Grow. That is the company that Nancy and I run together. And super excited about today's episode because I would say today's episode is part special announcement, part information about that special announcement, and a upcoming workshop that we're going to be doing at the end of this month that will teach you a lot of what the special announcement is all about. So I'm actually going to turn it over to Nancy so we can dive right into this. And this is, as we kind of progress through Q1 of this year and we move into Q2, we always feel that the first quarter of the year is probably the most impactful. I would say the first quarter and the last quarter. And why we always kind of quantify that is the first quarter is when you're kind of setting those goals, you're putting new systems and strategies into place, you're really strategically focusing on certain areas of your business, and then at the end of the year, you're kind of tightening up all the loose ends, but also making preparations for the next year that is obviously right around the corner. So I just want us to kind of dive right into obviously what this episode is all about. So Nance, if you want to just go for it, just dive on in.
Absolutely. So, where we're at right now in the year, right? Obviously, we're in March already, which is just
Wild.
so crazy to even think about. But we are getting ready to really open the doors, and it's going to be a quiet, right, opening to a very quiet, right, like a soft little restaurant opening, of our exclusive, right, Expert Content Society community. And I could not be more excited. I mean, I know obviously Scott's excited, but this is the first time that we've ever actually opened a community specifically for networking, right? Meeting other service-based business professionals, right? Coaches, consultants, those who work with others one-on-one, to really connect, network, and also be able to solve the problem, right? That we get all the time. Okay. We've heard it so many times. Yes, I know I should be on LinkedIn, but what the heck do I post, right? Where do I start? I want to put myself out there as a thought leader in my space. I want to be the expert, right? That my people think of whenever they want to go ahead and hire me for whatever it is that I do. And so that's the pain point that keeps bubbling up, right? It keeps coming to the surface. And content is one of those things, guys. We can't just do 3 posts and then run away and then never look at it again, right? We got to stay consistent with it. And the thing is now more than ever with AI and with so many people creating content, it gets very generic. It gets very lost in the mix, right? We lose our voice. And so there's a way to do it right. And so finally, we've put together, the framework and the just the amazing structure and foundation of this community. And it's all built on let's do this together, right? Let's create this amazing, wonderful content and let's connect, with other professionals who are also, looking to build and grow their service-based businesses and, really just knock it out of the park on LinkedIn.
So there's a couple things that we wanted to kind of touch on. Um, I'm going to kind of break down what content wise you can expect, and then Nancy's going to talk about some of the benefits and features and what makes this community different than other stuff that's out there. So I would say the first thing, first and foremost, is that Nancy and I have been kind of going back and forth on what type of high level paid community can we create that not only is so fairly priced that everybody would join, but also that would never leave. Like there's no reason to leave because it's basically your go-to place to learn all about LinkedIn content. Now, someone may be thinking like, are there that many different forms of content that you can create on LinkedIn? The answer is yes. And just to kind of rattle off just a few. And what I will say is that each form of content that I'm about to mention is going to get its own dedicated training, workbook, prompts, checklists, masterclass. Like we are going deep into all of these things. And obviously there's going to be challenges, there's going to be prizes, all like a lot of fun stuff. So when you talk about content on LinkedIn, well, first, it's about educating and informing your audience, but you can do that in various ways. So we're talking about text posts. We're talking about image text posts. Now, if we pause on image text posts, we can actually break that down into three forms of image text posts. So there can be image text posts where we're using a picture of you. There could be an image text post where you're using a graph. There could be an image text post where you're using multiple images. So just saying image text posts, that's three separate trainings right there. Then we have polls, and that could be broken up into two different trainings. Polls for your general audience and network, polls in groups. Then we can talk about video content, and there's actually four types, maybe even five different types of video content. So the first type is short form video content. You can shoot something on Zoom, post it 2 to 4 minutes. Then we're going to talk about short form video content. That's broken up into two separate forms. First, just a short form video that you record right on your phone vertically, throw it up right onto LinkedIn. The second is those Instagram Reel, Facebook Reel, TikTok style, where there's B-roll, there's captions, bubble letters, all that stuff. That's a separate form of
Yep,
short form
we teach you
video.
how to do it simply. Yep.
The fourth type is long form video content or LinkedIn Live. So you can do LinkedIn Lives, but I would say the fifth is actually dual person video content. A client of Nancy's, she's been working with them for years and years and years. They always do interview episodes using obviously a streaming tool, and they throw it up onto LinkedIn. So it just doesn't have to be you on there. You could be you interviewing a client, a testimonial, someone, a success story. So right there, that's 5 different types of videos that you can create on LinkedIn. Now let's talk about long form content in written style. That could be done in 2 different capacities, general articles or LinkedIn newsletter editions. Now, I would say the last form is what is called LinkedIn carousel posts. So this is just like an Instagram carousel where you're kind of scrolling through. LinkedIn has its own version of that where you can actually create these slide documents that you can use Canva, and we're going to kind of give you templates for all of this. You're not going to have to figure it out, like it's plug and play. So right there, I think I rattled off almost 12 different types of content that you can create on LinkedIn. And I think that's the fun part about this. Everyone thinks that, oh, it's just like Facebook and Instagram. It's not. It's a completely different animal. If you're a coach, if you're a consultant, if you're a service professional, not only do you need to spend the majority of your time on LinkedIn networking, connecting, and building relationships, but only 97% of the people on there are not doing anything. Only 3% of the LinkedIn community creates 1 post per week. So if you want to create that ultimate visibility and reach with your audience by being a part of our Expert Content Society community, you're going to learn what you need to do to elevate your brand, your visibility, and your content so you get in front of more of the right people.
Yeah. And so this just to also answer, we get the question a lot. Well, how do people work with you guys? And, what does that look like? And it's so funny because I also want to clarify, right? We do run 3 separate businesses. I have an agency where we do specialize in content, repurposing, and we work with mostly health insurance brokers. Scott has his LinkedIn consulting, and together, we run the Time to Grow, right? Which is where you're seeing this and hearing about this. And, with the Time to Grow, we only have 3 things that we provide. We have a foundational program that's just a plug and play course. We have our mastermind, which is, again, that weekly accountability, a group coaching setting. We're talking about, if you really want to grow, build, scale your business, LinkedIn Growth Engine is at the heart of that. But this community, which is nestled in the middle, right? The Expert, Content Society, what sets it apart, right? So much from number one, the other things that we do, but also to what other people do, is it's a place for us, like I said before, to really come together as people who are personal brands, right? We're working one-on-one with other people. We're looking for clients. We hope to use LinkedIn to put ourselves out there. We built this community for the people who want to use LinkedIn right. Okay. And whenever I say use LinkedIn right, that means use LinkedIn in a non-spammy way. Okay. That means showing up and providing value. That means doing the layers that are necessary, right, to build kind of that holistic look at how LinkedIn can really be that lead and sales engine for your business. And guys, content is such a huge, important part of it that it gets its own community, okay? And what Scott mentioned, right? There's so many different ways to create community, or I'm sorry, create content, yes, and community, but there's so many different ways to create content on LinkedIn that we're giving it, each different types, not only special attention, but we're also giving you guys plug and play templates, right? Through Canva. In fact, Canva is one of our favorite, for graphics. So you'll have Canva templates that you can just click into and then obviously use our prompts, to go ahead and create for yourself. We will have AI prompting, guys. We are always, right, trying to stay ahead of the curve whenever it comes to technology and staying up to date. So we will give you AI prompts, but we're very big on, okay, don't just use the output. Make sure that you also are inserting your human touch, your voice, right, your stories, and what makes you unique. And we're going to give you, right, kind of like Mad Lib style, a way to do that. And where I see a lot of other content communities or content programs that really fall short. In fact, we've been doing a lot of research and I've been doing a lot of research and development, right? As I've been building the value of this community. And one thing that I'm seeing is a lot of people who are saying, hey, sign up for my monthly, content for whatever. And guys, it's like a little write-up like this big. There's no templates, there's no anything. It's just a little calendar like, okay, on Monday, just share a work story. Share how you got started, right? It's very just general. You are going to get so much more, okay? If you struggle to tell the stories, if you struggle to remember, right, the skills and abilities and things that you can really offer to your clients, we're going to pull that out of you, right, with some prompting. We're also going to give you examples, okay? The biggest question we get is, well, what do these short form videos look like? Or what does a good newsletter look like? Right? We give you the blueprint, right? Each month you get kind of like the anatomy of, right? A really well performing or great performing article or newsletter, right? A really great performing example of a poll, right? That you can do. So we give you these tactics and we spend all that extra time really making it simple. Okay. We're going to give you a lot of value, but guys, we have really made it a mission to also keep it very simple, right? This is actionable. This is doable. So the people who join this community and who are already a part of it, right? Because we're slowly, right, letting people in our founders group, the people who are part of it are CEOs. These are marketing directors. These are service professionals, right? Coaches and consultants who work one-on-one with clients. These are the people who, yes, right, have very important roles in their business, but again, they are taking the time and they are taking the attention and the patience that what it takes to really grow and set themselves apart on LinkedIn. And it's a complete game changer. And again, unlike anything else that's out there, I can guarantee it.
So the final thing that we wanted to talk about is at the end of this month, March 24th to March 26th, Nancy and I are going to be doing a free workshop called LinkedIn Content That Sells. And basically this workshop is all about the premise of how you can create revenue in your business using LinkedIn and your LinkedIn content without selling and pitching to your audience. So when people think in their minds, oh, LinkedIn content then sells. Oh, I have to create content that has a pitch in every single thing.
Buy my thing, call me.
It's actually the complete opposite. So when you're creating LinkedIn content that sells, you're going to learn our simple framework of how you can educate and inform your audience, where you're positioning yourself as the subject matter expert, where you're actually going to draw interest, intrigue, and curiosity of the people that are seeing it, where they start reaching out to you. And when you provide that value, the adage goes, you have to give in order to get. So you're going to understand this simple framework. And obviously, at the end of that workshop, you're also going to have the opportunity to be one of the first founding members of our Expert Content Society community, which we will go into greater detail at that time of what it's all about. In the meantime, we are going to leave a link in the description of this episode where you can get on the wait list, not only about the workshop, but about information that is leading into the Expert Content Society. So if you want to stay on top of that, just click the link in the description, and obviously that'll get you on that wait list to learn more.
Yep. And you'll also get locked in, guys. In fact, we're actually closing the door once we hit a certain number. Like we said, it's a very soft launch because this is our first round of opening the doors. And we want to get that feedback. We want to get the right people in. So if you join the wait list and you're on there, right, you're going to get a special discount, right? That's the biggest thing to note. And this is for life. Okay. So if you want to join or if you want more information, definitely sign up, take some action, and get on that wait list. You are, like I said, going to love this community. And it's definitely something, if you're a service professional, coach, consultant, you work with one-on-one with people, you're going to want to be a part of. It's going to be a tool for your toolkit for sure.
And I would say the final thing that really makes this Expert Content Society community that special is that it's going to be done in real time, meaning we are not pre-recording all of these trainings and then just kind of quote unquote slowly
Yes.
dripping them out.
Forgetting about it. Yeah.
Because LinkedIn is an ever changing and revolving platform, that means content strategy is also going to change. So we are going to do these trainings in real time, which is what's most relevant and is working the best for the people that we're working with. So you get the best results as well.
Yep. So if you're using LinkedIn to grow and build your business and generate leads, you're going to want to join this community.
So again, to get on the wait list and to learn more, not just about the workshop, but about the Expert Content Society, just click on the link in the description and you can learn more there. So we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Love and gratitude, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.